everyone, and welcome everyone here. You can see through the leaves. Let's hear the statement, not from me, famous one supposedly of Ramana Maharshi's. Being ourselves reality. Now, being, we have a feeling of, right? Like a present tense condition. It's not doing, it's not efforting, it's being. Being wouldn't be close to what doing implies. Yeah, being. Yeah. Doing would be implied to be trying to get to being, so to speak. Don't you think? Yeah. Being doesn't really want to get to doing whatsoever because it's being already. Yeah. All right. So being ourselves. Let's wear that vaguely. Ourselves. Yeah. Right now, reality. Wow. So being ourselves reality. When what you call yourself hears that, does it make any sense? It's very fucking vague. Now, if you said being an asshole, you could get it. Or if not you, someone else who went out with you could say, yes, he's an asshole. And you would feel that. But you don't feel being ourselves reality, do you? Why is that, being ourselves reality? Yeah. But you would sense it if you are it, you would think. Yeah. So that which is hearing the statement being ourselves reality is the target of negation, really. Yeah. The affirming being ourselves reality actually occurs through negation because we can't affirm more than we already are being ourselves reality. I mean, the most affirming you could be in that state would be being ourselves reality. Then no more need for affirmations is necessary. And this is a dualistic, let's say, schoolroom. Then what would be the target of the study plan, which would be negation, obviously. Affirmation is completely unneeded. It would be piling on, so to speak. What would you say? Keep being ourselves reality, always being ourselves reality. You know, you try to add these absolutes, but you are absolute already. Being ourselves reality. So, and what's hearing that doesn't feel like it's being itself reality, unless you call reality a world with time and space and things and separateness and private thoughts and private feelings and ownership of doer, thinker, feeler, taster, toucher. If you believe that's reality, it's because you represent that reality as what you're not. So what you're not represents that reality. So when it hears being ourselves reality, meaning something other than this, it doesn't click. This clicks because it is the representative of being this reality. This is why other methodologies or other teachings will say this is a dream, yeah, which you would not say is reality, would you? You would have an idea of reality, and when you heard this is a dream, it wouldn't trigger the same bell as reality. It would be something opposite than reality. Yeah. Or here you are awake, the dream at night. The dream at night isn't awake. It's a dream I have when I'm asleep, so to speak. Yeah. So the dream that we take to be reality isn't taken to be reality from being ourselves reality. It just doesn't. We have to be taught it and learn it, and it has to be repeated constantly. Yeah, we have to listen to just a very solitary interpretation of the brain that always is interpreting to the body. Yeah, and therefore we are an act of the negation of being ourselves reality. Yeah, and it has been proven it doesn't work if you try to affirm reality as the negation. So it's just like when I was introduced over years of checking things out, I figured the body had a lot to do with obscuring shit. Yeah. So there was a lesson in the Course in Miracles that seemed to surgically apply to that, which was, I am not a body, I am free, I am as God created me, or something like that. So I'd almost like chant it in the morning to remind what? I thought it was trying to remind me, but me is the body. The reality of me is it's a body. Yeah. So the head doing itself reality is different than being ourselves reality. Yeah. So there I was chanting, and it came very clearly to me. The only thing that would chant it's not a body is a body identification. And the body identification is part and parcel of that which is not being ourselves reality. Yeah. So would you want to affirm being ourselves reality as that which is being itself something else? It hasn't worked. They figured that out. We figured it out in recovery by a statement that's not in the big book of the 12 steps, but it was an observation of tons of people trying to do just this, that self can't get out of self. Yeah. So talking to that which thinks it's being right now a reality, that there's another being itself reality. It's only gonna chant being reality to reinforce the reality it's representing. You see? Yeah. So when it's saying I'm not that, it's saying it as a that. So how far can not that go? Now, when I'm saying I'm not that, but that I'm not that is affirming I am this. So I don't believe affirmation works, truly, because you are the ultimate affirmation, being ourselves reality. How fucking far can you go? Is there a super reality, a super duper reality, a special somewhere reality, better than the everywhere reality? No, obviously. So let's look at that which thinks it's being itself reality or being itself in a reality. Yeah, because that's the stubborn assumption. And the brain is interpreting to the body, and it's giving the body a reality based on taking this as real. Yeah. So why would you want to try to throw at a plan of affirming something other than it's built to affirm all day? It's built to affirm I'm this. When this starts chanting I'm not this, it just reinforces I'm this. So why not? Well, just don't do squat, because you are reality, being ourselves reality. Start there and then negate that which wants to become reality, or that which thinks it's reality, or it's in reality, or whatever you want to talk about. But it has a stubborn assumption already in place. So let's just use that, negate it. And in negating that, the obviousness of being ourselves reality will dawn where that used to be dawning every day. And so we're not building a fact. The assumption of non-duality is being ourselves reality. Oh, look at this, beautiful. Huh? He wants to take a shower, the hummingbird. Very cool. So being out, yes, he hears the satsang. So you would like to think that, but I think it wants to take a shower. But it sounds, oh yeah, the hummingbirds come to the satsang. Fantastic. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just going off on this because it makes sense. This is why negation just works for me. Because if I am that which I'm looking for, whatever is looking for it needs to be negated, obviously. See, if I'm that which I'm looking for, the looking for it is the blindness to it. So let's negate that which is looking for it and be what's looking. When you're negating that which you're not, you'll be what you are. And it's not like you never have been, you always have been, but it will register here. You'll pick it up on your little seismic thing. It will, sometimes it's like an earthquake, but the tremors go on and on and on and on. Yeah, because you've now entered like a cavern that has an infinite echo. Yeah, like an unspoken yes. And you're just hearing your own reverberation. Yeah. What sonar picks when it's looking for a sonar is sonar. Yeah. So bing, bing, we're just pinging, pinging, pinging presence. Yeah. And now you lose all interest in that you that's looking for reality. Why? Because you're being yourself reality. Yeah. So you lose interest in a time space process if you've already reached the goal without doing anything. Yeah. So you lose interest in the race to the moon if you're living on the moon. Yeah. You don't, I gotta beat you're already there on the moon. The races are, they don't, it doesn't mean shit. Yeah. When they get there, you're going to be there already. Hey, hey, I thought we were the first. No, we are. Uh, so being ourselves is reality. The greatest mystery is reality wanting to attain reality. Put on that pair of shoes. See if it fits. See if something that you used to call you was doing exactly that. And that's what you'll see. We're using what's looking to look for what's looking. Yeah. How successful can you be other than the recognition of how failing that is? That's its success. Again, this class is presented, this learning is presented in a dualistic manner. You get a sense of what you are by seeing what you're not. That's a pure duality teaching. It truly is. Yeah. And the teaching of duality leads to non-duality. It doesn't lead to non-duality, but in a weird way it does, because we feel like we need to be led back to where we already are. It feels like that. Yeah. It does. There feels like there's some imaginary but seemingly real gap between space and time, between where I truly am and where I'd like to be. So it is sort of like an arriving in this head. Yeah. So when you arrive, obviously, you're greeted with upon having never left, which tells you there's no arriving where you already are. Obviously, it's going to tell you that sooner or later. You can't get 50 tickets stamped upon having never left. You're going to get it sooner or later. It doesn't matter. There's thousands. You can have thousands of round, whatever you call it, a round thing ticket, when you go back and forth. And every one of them is going to be stamped with on having never left when you arrive. What? Wait a minute. I didn't even tell you I arrived. We know. On having never left, on having never left. There you go. How many times do you have to hear it? I don't know. 8,000 times. My voice is, I'm losing my voice. But still, I'm not losing the message. The message goes out there. So seeker, what can you make out of the statement, the seeker is the sought, S-O-U-G-H-T, not sword, not sauce, S-A-U-C-E. The seeker is the sought. Yeah. What can you make out of that when you hear that statement? First of all, why the fuck would anyone say that? When my whole life I've been the seeker and I've never been the sought, or I probably would never have sought it if I was the sought. So my whole life of seeking would be completely upended by being the sought. It would. What the hell am I going to do with that? And this is why it's so beautiful, because these simple cryptic statements out of non-duality bring out the fucking misunderstandings. Yeah. Sometimes they blend in, but non-duality has the way to bleach certain things out. So you cannot miss it after a while. And this is one of them, because there you were, you have a huge story of you as the seeker. Yeah. And you have a lot of ideas about sort. And maybe you sort certain sorts you like better than other sorts, and you're a collector of this kind of sort. And yes, on and on. The head has just adhered to and made a giant identity of being the seeker. And then the sort actually becomes unimportant because the sort can be interchangeable, but the seeker is never interchangeable. You're always going to be the seeker. Yeah. That's why the interest is still captive. If someone else was seeking, you'd give a shit, really. Well, pretty much. Yeah. But you being the seeker, really, really, it's a fulcrum for interest and attention. And then the sort is just whatever, But usually, if you run into spirituality, it's got a more noble, more juicy sortness than other things. Like if I sort money, or if I sort this, or if I sort a master's, yeah, there would be accomplishments. But if you ever been bitten by the nobility of spiritual seeking, you've got it on a higher shelf, so to speak. So the sort, you know what I mean? You'd have pictures of when you kissed the guru's foot, Forget you don't see the guru at all, but you is completely in the picture. So it's always you. Here's the day I experienced my own absence. It'd be a full color picture of you. Look at me, I've disappeared. I don't know about that, but whatever. Yeah. So the seeker, big, a lot of meaning, always given. Sort, interchangeable. So the seeker is the sort. What's between the seeker and sort? Seeking. Yeah.
Yes.
Truly, the seeking actually gives birth to the idea of being the seeker. If you could stop seeking, you would see the seeker is an emperor with no clothes on. But while the seeking continues, it's very difficult to see that. Yeah. But if the seeking stops, then the seeker is there naked, really. You get to see. And hopefully it's going to trigger a recognition I'm not that. Yeah. So seeker sought. Yeah. So when the seeking stops, what can happen? The seeker is the sought. Yeah. Not as the seeking. And at that point, without the seeking, there is no seeker. That's the sought. Yeah. So it's super quick. The length and time is the seeking. Yeah. And you're gonna run out of the sought. Finite. This is, how many gods are there? They may say infinite, but basically we're in a finite, quote unquote, reality. Finite. You're gonna run out of sought. What are you going to be left with? Seeking. And it's going to, hopefully that's going to bring you to the point of looking at the seeker. Yeah. And if you don't look through the lens of seeking, you'll see the emperor has no clothes. And the sense of seeing it will be distinctly different than the thing you're seeing. All those images that you thought represented you, they don't. What you are has no representation. It just is. Yeah. Yeah. So, Bamo, you hear it. So now what non-duality says the seeker is the sort. Beautiful. What? Squish time and space like that. Seeker and the sort could go on. Tons of changes in sort. A lot of how ways you seek change, but you're the one constant. Yeah. That's being fed by all the seeking and all the sorts. They're like mirrors that you see an imaginary face all day, to the point you just remember yourself as an imaginary face. Yeah. Everything we meet is like a reflective surface to see the imaginary picture of us. So there's the action poses of seeking, or like this. There's the pictures with the sort, like a big game hunter, you got the fucking warthog's head on your mantle, and you killed them with this. So this is how I sort the fucking warhead fucking thing, and I killed them by bare hands, whatever. Yeah. So you got all the emphasis on the sort, and all the ways you sort it. Yeah, but they're all reflective things. Every time you see the warthog, you see you, because you killed the warthog or something. Yes. So non-duality just entices understandings to come out in the open, and that shit that used to drive you, you'll see. And the understanding of non-duality really negates the misunderstandings. That's what it does. It negates the misunderstandings. Yeah. And then the meaning of understanding is much more limited in understanding than when it's being used to imply you understand. That understanding is in a very lofty position. What you understand can be very, very lofty. Understanding is a like a tool. It's not the end all be all. Vision is the key, not view. Vision, awareness. Yeah. What fills the understanding is awareness. That's its value. But the awareness is it's the vision, not the view. A view would be an understanding. You could look at non-duality as a view, and it's pretty empty. And I don't mean empty in like Buddhism, but it's empty of effects in your life if it's left like that. It's the awareness that becomes unadorned, and you sense that presence. That's the power of non-duality, I feel, because it tells you, oh, it tells the you that it's not you, and then you get that message. So the Buddha looks at, hey, the Buddha, you can't use yourself to find yourself. It gets it very clearly. It's when you're trying to get it because you don't want to get it, it seems confusing. So if you look back on some of the talks that people must have given, it seemed obvious to me they weren't talking to the people that were there. They were talking to the Buddha that was there. Yeah. Now the Buddha was masquerading as like Jim or Bill or Mary, seeking for the Buddha. Yeah. So the teacher said very quickly, hey, AKA Jim, Mary, Sue, send them around the corner for a half an hour, and then just talk directly to the Buddha. Hey, Buddha, you can't use yourself to find yourself. And then the Buddha sees that's exactly what was going on. And that's the end of looking for the Buddha. Yeah. And then he would say, you can't use light to seek light, and you can't use mind to seek mind. So he gives you a triple knockout. So just as the first is, you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. So then, of course, the head will go somewhere else. Then it goes, can't use mind to seek mind. Then it goes, you can't use light to seek light. And basically, it should be over by then, unless you're very stubborn. Yeah. So, Bamo, you get it. What happens? You see where you used to look from all day. You thought you were looking from there, but it was a lookout point manufactured by the mental activity, supported by the brain's interpretation of everything to the body. Yeah. So you were looking out from somewhere, but you weren't looking out from what's looking. You were looking out from a mental outpost, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now the true triangulation occurs. Yes. You get whacked and you realize, and when you have a free sample, part of that sample sometimes it tells you it's always been this way. It doesn't leave any room for, well, it could be more this way, or I fucked up and it's less this way. No, it says it's always been this way. So basically, all the relevance and meaning I have given things to change and alter and affect everything else, that can happen with conditions, concerning conditions, but not that which is conditionless. Yeah. Yeah. And so then, okay, I thought this is pretty good. I'm digging this. Yeah. So look at Monopoly board. Okay. The board comes with like boot, yes, Eiffel Tower, couple of other things. Now, the boot has no ability to move itself, obviously. You move it. Yeah, the boot's just a boot. It doesn't have no electric boot or anything. And it gets moved. Yeah. And when it gets moved, if the boot had been shot up with self-centeredness, when it got moved to Baltic Place, it would blame itself. It would look bad at itself, say, I'm a fucking loser. Here I am at Baltic Place. I should have been in the boardwalk and whatever, yes? And so the meaning given to the boot wouldn't come from the boot. The boot would be expressing the meaning. The meaning would be coming from the self-centered interpretation of monopoly. Yeah. Yes. And who's at the effect of it? The boot. Yeah. Yeah. The boot gets the boot and goes to jail with no free card available. So here, if you recognize events happen, deeds are done, yet there is no individual doer thereof, just hear that. Supposedly, Lord Buddha said it. It doesn't matter if Anthony Magnolia said it. It's a pretty good statement to sort of let land. Yeah. Events happen. We're not in argument. This is an event right now, like it or not. This is an event. Deeds happen. Events happen. Deeds are done. Yeah. But there's no individual doer thereof. How much clearer can you have? How can you have it? Yeah. Now, events happen, deeds are done, but there's no individual doer thereof. There you go. Leave the fucking satsang center and go home and let all that shit catch up to you. Yeah, see if it lands. I mean, really, if the shoe fits, wear it. And if it's not fitting now, come back, it's gonna fit. Yeah. Yeah. And what happens? When something gets negated, that which is there always gets affirmed, not through that which was negated. Yeah. See why the affirmations of God aren't working when we chant them is because they're more of an affirmation of us. Yeah. So this negates that. You see the us as not you, and then nothing happens, really. And then things that you never thought you could arrive at, you realize is because you never left. See, you had never left. Nothing I've ever did in this life took me a 1/8 of an 80th of an inch away from what we are. It's impossible. If I'm everything and everywhere, how can there be a special somewhere where I can't be everywhere? Yeah. Just negating the somewhere, you realize it's not like you negate the somewhere and then you strive hard to arrive at the everywhere. You're in the everywhere. There's no striving. If you're awake and here now, you're in the everywhere. It's like in this game board, there's zillions of squares and you've never left the game board. All the going and losing and this don't mean shit, really, ultimately. They're all going to be forgotten. Just like your best day was forgotten, your worst days are going to be forgotten. Yeah. By the simple recognition, they're not here. I mean, what I called Tuesday, I haven't seen any semblance of Tuesday in this Wednesday yet at all. It didn't encroach in, it didn't move in. There's a lingering bit of Tuesday. No, it's as if this was a cliff and it just drops off. Really. I have to remember it to pull anything back. Yeah. All the fish that I would pull back from memory aren't jumping in front of me now. I'd have to remember the fish and throw the net into the head to bring back some dead fish. I'm not seeing them jumping now. Oh, I was really bummed out yesterday, but how are you now? Well, I'm not bummed out. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. So I am the seeing of what I'm not, or And then people would think seeing, we mean vision. We don't mean eye vision. So I am the awareness of what I'm not. That's basically the best description I can have. And how does that awareness get emphasized? By the negation of what's always getting emphasized, what I'm not. Yeah. Not trying to emphasize what I'm not to affirm what I am, because all that does is affirm what I'm not. I'd much rather let that go, negate that, and the affirmation is like breathing. It comes and goes without any volition or effort. Yeah. Yeah, here you are on Wednesday, I think. Yeah. You're here, so obviously here. You're just stunned into a pause. Yeah. Pause, not PAWSs. Yeah, it's not pause like dog gloves. Pause, Pause. Something stops. And that something stops gives me a sense of my own stillness. Yeah. Because what's reverberating when a lot of shit stops is the presence I am. Haven't you ever heard it? When all this yapping stops, there's a sound, a cascade of sounds and frequencies going on. We're alive, yes, bubbling with this, with whatever. So that pause points to the stillness. And what does Nisargadatta always say in Ramana at the end of everything? He says, basically, shut up and be still. Speak whatever. He says, be silent and still. Yes, there you go. It doesn't say you got to do silence and still. It's be. It's telling a kid to be a kid. The kid knows how to be a kid. It's a kid. We know silence and stillness. We do, because we are of silence and stillness. We don't need a fucking manual. All right. Yeah. Come on. You know how much faith has been put into what's not true? Let a little of it drop into what's true. And that faith, the size of a mustard seed, can move freaking mountains. And it can definitely chop down mental mountains that were born out of molehills. Yes, it can. Our faith is the driving force of our lives. Yeah. In recovery, we say there's two ways it goes: faith in finite self, which is object faith. Already read one of the definitions of object, which was powerless and servile. That sounded incredible. So abject faith in the God of reason, listening to the fucking head, listening to the brain's interpretation of yesterday, now, and the future. On and on and on and on and on. That's generated every effect that any of those things bring about is fueled by faith. Yeah. As Jesus supposedly said, it's done according to your faith. It could have said that about anything. They used it when he was healing. He could have said that to the person about every fucking thing. You know, oh, I did really well at work today. It was done according to your faith. Oh, I fell in love with this woman. It was done according to your faith. He could have said it could have been a blanket thing. They only put in the book the ones about healing, but basically that's all he fucking said probably. Everywhere he went. Hey, Jesus, what's going on? It's done according to your faith. What? It would be super clear. Yeah. So they say they have it in a category. Oh, when he was healing people. I imagine when he was saying hello to people. It could be. Yeah. So, all right. It's done according to your faith. You can't miss the difference between a thought and your thought. The power of a thought, when preceded with the word my, is much stronger. If you had thought categories like hurricane categories, there's a thought category. A thought would be a 1, tropical storm, 1 or 2. My thought, 4. Category 4 with fucking gale force winds, or category 5. Where is that power coming from? It's the same storm, but the my, what does my represent? Faith. Yeah. It doesn't represent ownership. The ownership is easy to see, but the effects isn't from the ownership. It's the faith in the ownership. Yeah. It's in the faith that these thoughts are mine is what makes you the thoughts own you. Yeah. Yes. So faith, I feel, is a force, and I feel we represent it. And so we need direction, because it's the direction, or what's directing us is how the faith is going to manifest. Now, I've seen two glaring examples this life. Faith in the head with active addiction, the obsession with self was fucking unbelievable. And then the seeming absent or losing interest in that, and then a sort of more of an organic faith, and I don't know what, but that organic faith seems to feed me every day, not enslave me every day. Yeah, it enriches my day. So whatever's blowing that wind is blowing pretty good than the other thing that was blowing the other wind. Yeah. And so, as St. Francis says, it's in self-forgetting. It's in self-forgetting that you're reborn. That's the requirement. You're reborn, but no, it's in self-forgetting that triggers the reborn. Yeah. You're not reborn as the thing that was seemingly living before. That would be the repeating of an old fucking imaginary birth. You're reborn through forgetting self. Exactly. There you go. So, hey, we'll open it up, and I could go on for hours today, because I see these little crumbs, I'm following them, and I'm sort of digging it. Yes, leading me places. I'm going to become like a kindergarten teacher. I'm going to present it to kindergarteners, and maybe I'll have more success. Yeah. They can call me Uncle Paul or something. Big Daddy. No, that may not work now. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Anyone, Kathleen?
Thank you, Paul. Does anybody have any question or comments for Paul this evening? William Stamps is raising his actual hand. Unmute yourself, William.
This half hour was brought to you by Zagori, Greek artist in water, from an undisclosed island in Greece. Paul Hedderman recommends it. All right.
William, if you want to speak, you need to unmute yourself, honey.
All right.
Good.
Anna? Yes, hello. Thank you, Paul. Let's say I have a lot of stuff today, but I'll try to make it brief.
All right.
I've got a couple of little insights in the past 2-3 weeks.
Great.
And stuff that I've been thinking about for a long time, and all of a sudden it kind of connected.
Great.
Question I do have is, you do mention occasionally about karmic seed assignments. Now that kind of a little bit of a negative kind of feeling, like, well, I got this karmic seed assignment. I can't fight that, because that's sort of like a given. And I just wanted if you might comment on that one.
Well, you can fight it, or you can accept it. But if it's your seed assignment, it's, thank God, all the seed assignments are in a realm of musical chairs. So the music will stop and you'll be invited off. But when the music plays, you may find yourself in the same chair. It's never your chair. It's a seat assignment. Yeah. And so I take it, I like to do that just like we use the term action figure. It makes what represents us to be less personal. You know, an action figure was never the Batman. It was like accessory characters that would go with the Batman doll. And you can get the, you know, the penguin action figure, but it would never be the Batman. You know what I mean? So it's a humbling, I feel. It's like putting a humbling blanket on the head. So action figure and a seat assignment, because a lot of people think they're one of the chosen ones or something like that. Let's chill out. You know what I mean? We're all on the same plane. You just have, maybe you're in first class, I don't know, but a seat assignment, yeah, just works for me. I heard it from a lady years ago and I just kept it. She said, yeah, Paul, you have a seat assignment. I go, wow, that sounds like that captures it pretty well. And I haven't found anything to replace it, so I've been using it. Her name was Magnolia. Yeah. I'd say about 30 years ago, something. So yeah, that's why.
That's exactly, is that seed assignment given by God, or is it something that we are kind
I
of,
don't think it's given. I think we find ourselves there. I couldn't trace a history what brought me there. That's what the head would like to try to make up, to try to explain the seat assignment. I just feel you're in a seat assignment. Like I got run over, bro, and I've had pain from that for 44 years. Now, I don't even remember the event. Yeah. All I remember was lights going out in the car. I had just closed the door on. And the first thing I remembered after that was I was horizontal and my sister-in-law was looking at me from the doorway and I knew I must be fucked by the way she was looking at me. And then I was led to, you know, I found out I was in a hospital and I'd been run over by a car. And I've had dreams of it. I can't remember whatever went on, but it affects the action figure every day. And, you know, I think the place that can really be worked on, it may not be the pain, but the suffering that the head wants to squeeze out of that wet towel, so to speak. Yes? Yeah. So I all the meaning that it had the first year or two and fostered by the doctors, like I was never going to walk again and all this shit. I didn't really take it to heart. And yeah, I've gotten a lot of value out of what it brought about and what it brought my attention to have to look at a whole lot. So I see great value in what happens to us. Yeah.
my question is, if we are reality, why should we have a seed assignment that's negative?
I don't know, bro, but the game starts with duality, so you don't have all of the same thing here, do you? You don't. This is like the wet dream of spirituality, people. Have an ecstatic experience, stabilize and be that way all the time. This place is not like that. We're in a currency of coins. They all have two sides. Yeah. So, but the suffering, I feel, in a lot of levels is optional. It doesn't mean it's choice, but you can lean one way and decrease it or lean the other way and increase it. Yeah. So, yeah. And I found an acceptance of something I didn't ever believe that I would ever accept. Yeah. But I've come to accept, you know, this is how it is. My foot fetish has been unfulfilled for 34 years, 44 years. My shoe fetish destroyed my shoe fetish. I found so many fucking cool shoes and the bad foot goes, no, no, I cannot put my foot in there. So yeah, you got to laugh about it a lot, I feel. Well, what are you going to do, bro? You know? Yeah. And if it's getting too much, help other people, do service. I mean, action service. Yeah, seriously. If my head went crazy, I would be doing service. Not being of service, I'd be doing it because it will capture your base attention and interest and take it off. It's sort of like the best fly shooer from the shit. Yeah, is service. Yeah, because you may be saying there's no shit, but if the flies aren't leaving, the flies still believe there's shit. So yeah, but I feel cool. But if I didn't feel cool, I'd be doing service. Yeah, really. Because when you're handing someone that sandwich, that person doesn't give a shit about what you're thinking about. They just need the sandwich. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yes,
Okay.
yeah. And I don't know what to do. Some things seem, I don't have an intimate experience. The pain has never gotten chronically super bad. I've had my moments, but usually every night I go to sleep, it's a crapshoot. I have no idea how my legs are going to feel the next day. They're not reliable. And yet I'm in this gamble, I've been winning for years. I'm just going with it. I'm just throwing the same die because, yeah. So, yeah, I think it's crazy to try to manage what's not manageable. I do. Now, I can't stop doing that. I can see I'm not that which is doing it. And that's the form of stopping that I go for. The head may want to try to manage something, but I'm not in cahoots with it. So yeah. Yep.
Thank you.
Hmm?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, bro. And yeah. There's gonna oh. All right. Anyone else? Kathleen?
There are no hands at this time, Paul.
I want to say one thing. I hope you don't feel the chronic pain when you're sleeping. So you do. There is a great amount of grace in our life. When I go to bed, the pain in my leg doesn't keep me up. So that's fucking awesome. So I get a break every day, not by taking a pill, but by sleep. Yeah. And when I wake up in the morning, I'm not totally attached to the body. And all the sensors aren't relaying the information to the brain. And it's a sort of the nicest time to be a body when you're not a body, so to speak. Yeah. So I really like in the morning. I luxuriate a lot of time when Amelia's still asleep. I just lay there and the aches and pains haven't become a an emphasis of the day. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So isn't that a nice solace to look forward to going to sleep? Fucking great. Yeah. So there is mercy, and there's always mercy. There is. Yeah. I've seen some people with bone cancer. I used to give talks in Perth, Australia, and a person who flew me out there, he wanted me to meet this lady, and she had bone cancer. What was her name? And luckily, her husband was sort of not well off, but could provide. And they had turned their living room into a bedroom, and she had to be carried around. And that lady was just beaming, 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 beaming. And it was a pleasure to share satsang with her. And I did it a few times. And then the next year, she had passed away. But she did not look like she was the product of the pain or the chronicness of it. She seemed to be the light more than anything else. It was pretty cool. It was a very good demonstration. remember, demonstrations go a long way. Yeah, if you see one person demonstrate something, the possibility of that demonstration is universal, literally. So, yeah. I feel the head will forget a miracle in half an hour, literally. And it'll keep remembering a seeming slight for 40 years. So I try to, honor demonstrations when they occur. Put like a little mobile temple there and just sit for a second and, feel a sense of gratitude and just honor it. Because a lot of people, I used to meet people and they said they were always depressed, and they never were always depressed. And I would see them at a party and they'd be laughing and I'd walk up to them. I say, "Yo, are you depressed right now?" "No." "See, don't believe this shit. You're always depressed." If you notice, you get a lot of reprieves all the fucking time. Yeah. It's not all sadistic pain and torture. You get relief, I feel. So, but the head has a story that doesn't go along with, the relief doesn't go along with the story. I always feel bad. I'm terrible, I'm always going to be this way. No. Yeah. I had an incredible breakthrough only to the action figure Paul. The day I could put a fin back on so I could really righteously boogie board was fucking mind-boggling. I had tried it for a few years and the foot just refused to take it, just refused. It just fucking flipped out. And then one day I put on this fin, fuck, it wasn't barking. I went in the water. It was great. And then from that time on, I had like 14 years of continuous boogie boarding. And then the knees went out. But I got an incredible reprieve for so many years. Really. I eked out so much surfing. It was mind-boggling. I did. I never thought, am I surfing too much? Never thought like that. I just fucking, any chance I got, I was in the water. I don't care less. You shouldn't be doing it. Give me a break. Yeah. If something brings a smile on your face, I'd fucking try to do it as much as you can. Unless it's torturing someone else, please. You know what I mean? Yeah. You got to be clear now. People find weird shit going on. All right. Anyone else, Kathleen? No, it was great. Putting that fin on. Never thought it was going to happen. And then the truck broke down and I didn't try to call anyone, and I just walked 2.5 miles back to the house here. And I know it was 2.5 miles because I waved it, and I had walked 2.5 miles. First time maybe in ever since I got run over that I walked that far. And it didn't hurt. And the next few days it didn't hurt. It was great. I said, fucking awesome. Yeah. And it was like, I'm not going to call anybody. I'm just going to walk. It was cool. Now, do I do that every day? No, I don't. But I did it that day. Yeah, I didn't, obviously. Something just went on. Yeah, so hey. Yeah. So, William, an hour of you not feeling the chronic pain is an incredible event for you. Yeah. Others, they don't see it because this is a subjective experience. Yes. So don't let the normal idea of what miracles are be miracles. Miracles could be a little bit of relief when you put your leg up at night. Yeah. Yeah. Don't compare it because you're not being able to do all this other shit. Yeah. Or whatever. Or see you're not that which is comparing it. To me is the easiest way. Because it sounds like an order. Don't compare. No. See that you're not that which compares. That's the message, I find. Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
All right, Kathleen.
Beautiful, Paul. Absolutely beautiful song. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank all of you. Yeah. I feel for William. I feel for everybody here in a sense. This is a confusing fucking place because being ourselves reality, we're seemingly so far removed from that. Thank God it can only go for 80 years, maybe. I mean, you can't pull this off forever. You know what I mean? The curtain comes down on every finite play. Yeah. The critics had already left. There's no fucking, it's just, yeah. But yeah. Yeah. This, these things are not to be laughed at. People, yeah. Yeah. So we're all with each other, I feel. We all had our own fucking seeming crosses to bear. And I hope this message has allowed you to travel a little lighter under whatever cross is laid on your shoulder, so to speak. Yes? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah. All right. Kathleen, I'm going to say goodbye, I think. No?
That's quite all right.
All right. Eric P. from Vista. There you go. Just slop it all up, and then it's going to translate itself into something that will work where you are. David, nice to see you, my friend. Susanna W., a dear friend. William Stamps. I hold my relationship with you, Susanna, in high regard. Yes. William Stamps. Marl, I always screw your name up, honey, but I know you also. Yeah. James Olsen, one of the Olsen brothers. Yes. Walter in the Netherlands. Walter, yeah, you're a lifetime member of Zen Bitch Lab. Don't forget. There's a lot of unseen benefits from that. 4 months in hospital, leg. What? Wow. Gary Clark, Placerville, looking better every day. Nice to see you, bro. Kerry, your house is being built without you knowing it, eh? Very cool. Bill Churchman, the SS Enterprise, the largest land-bearing sea vessel, docked in Delaware. Anand, a beautiful name, meaning beautiful things. Sachin Anand. Yeah. Dennis W. Chris, Deborah in Alberta, Saraswati, my voiceover. She's going to be the voiceover. I've come to a humble conclusion that people are going to hear the satsang in Saraswati's voice better than my voice. So she's going to dub every talk. Hopefully it'll be like an Italian movie. They're great dubbers, not like, English to Japanese. That doesn't work so well. But I'm going to try it. It'll sound great. We'll cut out all this cursing. Yeah. It'll just induce a kumbaya. All of us. All right. Phone number. Nice to see you. I think that's it. Hey, such a pleasure to spend time with everyone.
This is
Yeah.
so beautiful, Paul. Thank you so much. Today was really nice.
Oh, great. Great. Well, I'm feeling nice today. That's dangerous. All right. I'll see you guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Paul.
Paul.
Yeah, we'll be here
Thanks,
tomorrow,
Paul.
AA,
Thanks,
10:30.
Kathleen.